Hey everyone, Kane here, and in this video we're gonna check a few fights that I had in Minds of Mayhem. All three fights were against people around 1 million core higher, and either they were, uh, I suppose, from VIP 14 to 15, or they were very old players in terms of play the game for maybe 2 years or so. So they had acquired a lot of free stuff and materials and still pose a pretty decent fight. So in this first one, I faced this guy a couple of times already. He does have a few issues on his field in terms of his dragon. Now, he does have a lot of greater abilities, and he does have, I suppose, a decent amount of talents upgraded, but he doesn't have an Azure Dragon in terms of Sylph. Now, if he swapped his dragon to Sylph, he had Noble Blood, all those kinds of things, his formation would actually be quite a lot stronger and his trees would be quite a lot tankier. So the other thing is his stats on the tree. Sorry. Uh, he doesn't have a lot of physical resistance and he doesn't have a lot of healing received. So instead of these stats, or instead of having equipment on physical resistance as well, and using anima for healing received and enemy crit rate reduction, he probably goes for some other stats, because healing received, even when I played Sylph myself, my trees were about 160, both of them, and healing received was like almost 200%, though I didn't really have that much crit rate reduction. But swapping those healing received to crit rate reduction, I have about a similar amount on my skeletons, so healing received would be about similar. But again, I'm not entirely sure which one of those is actually better on the trees, because the healing on the trees sometimes can be pretty bonkers. So, in terms of heroes, one moment, his heroes are actually quite lower in the hero attack. A few of them don't really have that good equipment as well. So, his Valerie is not even close to becoming a DPS, or rather Avril, his Valerie also not close to becoming a DPS, and he did some mistakes in terms of all of the equipment. So you do require Arcane Rod, or now the Spirit Scepter, I think. Then you require different equipment, and not the Drake set to increase the damage, as well as you require Dragon set to make this hero survive. Now, the other mistake in terms of abilities is that people level the Fire Dance over the Burning. The thing is, in most heroes, army, and etc., they have like a fixed amount of attack that it can be max or whatever. Like increasing just a little bit more attack speed, like 40% or something, is not going to add you incredible amounts of damage, and even then it won't make a difference on in like your Valerie or even the Fire Dance itself. What would make a difference if you would max the burning to level 10, and this 20% would turn to 30% and even more increased damage, and then even your Lotus Fire would do more damage. So he's going for, I suppose, the thought of more attacks equals more damage, instead of a little bit less attacks, like one or two attacks less in that 20 seconds or whatever, and stronger ones. And I do believe the stronger ones actually pose more damage than like not having this at level 9 or 10, at least in my own opinion. So in terms of the Valerie, I can show you proper equipment or close to proper equipment here. So Arcane Rod, you have Dragon Set, which helps survive that hero for 5 seconds when she's almost dead. You have 20% Burning Staff, which affects the Lotus Fire and the Burning. And then you have deal 25% more damage to melee enemies, which, like, basically from the staff and this, you already get like 45%. I suppose they're counted differently, but it's still damage increases. So yeah, that aside, I think I checked a couple of his heroes and they didn't really have Also, I suppose that good of equipment, like even let's say the Tisafin, some of this equipment is like questionable. Sure, you can flawless the basic set, but the basic set grants 20% bonus damage over even not having a flawless set, but it grants 40% bonus damage. Like, you don't get that amount of bonus damage from just having a little bit more stats. So if you just equip this, it's easily like 20% more damage, which has a lot more scaling for a mage like this. So we're gonna just jump into the fight and see what happens in it. So I think I faced his burst side in terms of his heroes. Nora, Valerie, Avril here. I casted my Valerie, casted Blizzard here into his archers where he tagged my dragon on. And I do believe I'm gonna jump with Rufio in just a second. Yep, I touched his Sizo, Avril, Nora. Nora died instantly. Sizo died, or no, it was Tisafin. And then I spun to Valerie. Now, do keep in mind, his Avril and his Valerie don't have the dragon set. Avril died instantly. Valerie is in dragon invincibility and died right after, which means you don't, like, you cannot put that basic set on your mages. You have to have the dragon set if you want them to survive. Sure, you can have Clash of Fate sets rather on your Avril and whatever to stun maybe and stuff like that. But even then, those heroes can die rather quite quickly from many other things. So basically, after killing those heroes, which would do damage for him, it was a very slow fight towards the end, since he has trees and they do take quite a bit to kill. Even when I have don't, or rather, I don't have any archers or mages on my field. So the second fight is against. I'm not entirely sure. I've spoken to him a bit on the Cross Realms chat, and I think he's free to play. At least I think he said he's free to play, or he's a small spender, but he's in a lot older realm, and he's a bit higher core than me. So in terms of Dragon, I don't think he has any greater abilities, and he hasn't leveled any of the talents to level 4. So in terms of heroes, I'm not sure if I can say much. I think I'm not sure about this Nora build. Personally, I would go for 25% additional melee damage in terms of the pistol, instead of upgrading the strike commander for additional 16% attack speed. That is like my own opinion in terms of the trinket preference, but I still think damage bonus is a lot stronger than the attack speed. In terms of heroes, I suppose uh, he may not have proper artifacts, so I'm not really checking in terms of the artifacts, since he's either a small spender or free to play. Rufio, though, is actually a pretty decent build and can do a lot of damage to, let's say, heroes. So he has a higher attack than my own Rufio, and yeah, let's check Valerie. Also, Valerie, similar build as the previous guy, just that he has the dragon set, which is better. So again, you don't really need this kind of a Drake set or a build because it's not as useful. Now, in terms of abilities, he had Crackling Flames at 8, and even burning at 7 just to make Fire Dance level 6, or rather 5 and then to 6 with the set. Again, this is pretty bad. You have to have all of these passives at level 9 for the maximum effect. From like majority of what I see, if you don't have these effects at level 9 and you just focus Fire Dance, it's a lot worse than it is with them. And in most fights, like 99% of the fights, my Valerie is top DPS by far. Even if the enemy's Valerie is not killed and she's damaging literally everything or a lot of units in AoEs compared to mine, mine just does more damage overall. So yeah. Let's get into the fight. Now, in terms of this fight, he did a pretty big oopsie doopsie, which probably could have cost him the entire fight. So let's see, made it a bit slower. So the first thing I always do is I cast Valerie, I cast Blizzard, and then I cast the Snake into my mages. The reason for that is I know his Rufio was somewhere here, and instead of jumping into my mages or close to my dragon, he, I think, misclicked and jumped on his dragon, or I think he said some lag. So that kind of reduced a decent amount of damage he was able to do. So he spawned into my mages and necromancers, and as you can see, that snake is attacking the Rufio. What this snake does is it removes, I think, 40% attack and accuracy from the Rufio, so his Rufio doesn't even do that much damage. Now, if you've seen this Leo Sprite proc, it would have actually done a lot more damage if I didn't have this snake in here. So do keep in mind this snake probably kind of helped me keep the Avril helped me keep the Avril alive for a bit longer, and the same for at least one or two of my mages who are still in the backline here as well. So that one was a pretty, I suppose, solid decision to cast the Ophidia Snake or the first snake into my own mages to debuff anything that would get near them. Sometimes happens, other gladiators walk into there, you can't really avoid them, and after that, it was a slow win in terms of the battle. Had he killed any of my mages, highly likely this would have been a lot closer fight than it was. And the third fight, I lost. I thought I could beat him, but I lost. I probably could have beat him actually, but I didn't really notice that he had two archers hidden behind the dragon. I thought it was heroes like Saizo and stuff like that, probably a Verm, so I didn't really pay too much attention. Otherwise, my skill casts would have been different. So whenever I went into the fight, I had it like this somewhere here, and I think I cast Avril, I cast Blizzard, and I didn't really notice it that much, so I would have casted Valerie into the Rufio jump, because whenever I casted Avril, or rather Valerie and Avril, my Rufio went into the invincibility, meaning that even if I jump right after and you can see the damage done, um, my Rufio already lost the invincibility and stuff like that, so he's gonna die in just a second. But if I use my Rufio very, very early, I probably could have wiped those archers, probably could have killed his dragon. I'm not entirely sure, but that kind of a failure of just noticing what was in front of me kind of lost me the fight. So yeah, and after that he has like most of his heroes alive. He has archers and sorry guys, and after that he just quickly clears everything because I didn't manage to kill a decent amount of stuff on his field, and that is why Rufio sometimes kind of sucks. If you don't properly use him or you don't kill stuff with him, basically you use like 3 skills for nothing and you could have used them for something better. And yeah, that's pretty much it in terms of this fight. I think he had a pretty decent build in terms of heroes. I checked him before. I don't think that this guy made too many mistakes or almost any mistakes in terms of equipment. It's probably, or rather, his build was a bit different and stuff like that. So yeah, he uses Avril for stuns. He uses Valerie for damage, all that kind of stuff. So at least most of the DPS heroes has proper stuff, except for Valerie since she has no attack. So even or this guy, he didn't actually level the fire dance very high, but he didn't have ability points to level the Lotus Fire. Now in this case, if you had a choice, you would level the Lotus Fire instead of Crackling Flames, but even then, I would lower the level of the Fire Dance to just level any of these two. passives over an active skill, at least again in my own opinion. Anyways, that's pretty much it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and if you did, do hit that subscribe button. It would help me out a lot. Thanks for watching, take care, and stay safe out there.